Thanks that I can be here on stage. My name is Sven Klammer. I'm a musician, composer from Lübeck, Germany. And I'm very new to this ContinuuCon. It's my first appearance here, and I'm really happy and really glad to be here. And I am giving a small presentation. We've heard lots of great stuff about all aspects of sound, how this thing works, and about the continuum sounds, about microtonal aspects, about shifting sounds and everything. And it's really great that a lot of people have just covered almost anything that can be said. No, well, probably not, but I am concentrating on an instrument that hasn't been on the list yet. This is the ContinuuMini, the small one, the best-selling instrument of Haken. So I figure out it needs a spot to be presented also. And yes, before I start, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a musician coming from jazz. I mean, I studied trumpet and piano in Berlin at the Hans Eisler Conservatory of Music. And I'm sort of like based on jazz, but I'm very open stylistically. So I like to go all over the place, like coming also from classical and folk music to world music, and I like to listen to lots of things. So I'm just picking these things up, and it's all a result in my music, which it brings everything together in the performance and improvisation. I've been living in Lübeck, teaching a little bit at the conservatory there. I'm doing arranging and composition for large ensembles, for classical orchestras, as well as for big bands and for crossover projects. And I'm teaching arranging and music theory, jazz music theory, not the classical one, at the local college there. And I've been touring a little around Germany and parts of Europe, and I've been in Asia and in the United States. Occasionally with some ensembles when I was really lucky to get funding for that. And yes, so that's how my life was before I started during the pandemic to find this small little piece here, which has also been a history. I mean, I was interested in electronics. Not that I'm like a synthesizer nerd or like going really into electronics from the beginning. So I was pretty late, finding coming from a keyboard and a trumpet as a wind player. I thought, well, MPE. I found MPE. It's like, wow, that's cool. It's a great thing. I was like doing MIDI keyboard stuff while I was doing some productions, also for some little music film things, and I thought MPE that's quite interesting. And then I got myself a keyboard. So I was fooling around with the keyboard, and I didn't find it really suits my playing. It's like it's not something that has this the response and the touch that I really want to have when I play. And then I ordered myself a Linstrument. I sent it back after 1 week because it's also not what I was really up to, and I thought, wow, this is not my setup. I'm not a guitar player, and I really have no access to guitar things. That's really weird to me. It's like I'm more coming from this keyboard and the wind situation. So in 2020, I found the Haken website. I think I read some magazines, some online magazines, like, well, there's a Continuum, Haken Continuum. I was like, whoa, found some videos and saw how these sounds and everything is working. I was like really amazed about it. So, okay, I went to the next online dealer and looked for the prices, and I said, okay. Well, the big one, the Continuum, is a little bit too expensive for my budget, but there is the ContinuuMini, which has just been released, I think at that time, or maybe 2018, 19, and well, for $1,000, I'm going to spend that. I just get it over and see how it feels. And it was immediately there. Like it took 2 days. They had it in stock, so I was like, wow, cool. And then I got this thing. It's so beautiful. If you look at it, it's like you have this stripe and the display, and the beauty of it is it's not just a controller. It's like it's a whole instrument, and that's the great thing about all Continuums, that they are real instruments, you know. And the ContinuuMini, of course, has differences. Like to the big Continuum, I don't have to list them all. You know them all. There's no real Y dimension. It's pretty hard to control that. On the Mini, the playability is totally different because you have this aluminum plate, which is like moving along. When you touch it, everything moves. It's not like on this instrument. So it's really different. But since I didn't have the big one, I thought, well, I like to have limitations. So also when I'm composing, I try to limit myself to some things, and that's also causing some creativity to just jump up. So it's like, I was really excited. So I have to touch that. How to start? So the first thing, first instrument I saw and I played on the ContinuuMini was what? Guess. What is it? A flute. Yes, it was a flute sound. So I took this picture. So great. You know, this association. Wow, this thing sounds like a flute. It's great. Yeah. So and it's so I made a little funny photograph of that. So, well, I start like probably everyone with a finger touching down, like 1 finger, 2 fingers, and then I found out, okay, I knew already that it's you can play with most, most 2 fingers, but actually it's a monophonic instrument if you really go into it. So although the engine is capable of 8 voices, if you trigger it externally, but to play this the fingerboard, it's just you can just like to one voice going on. So. Am I using 2 fingers or maybe more fingers? You know, there are lots of videos. I looked around at videos. There are lots of guys on the Mini that are just playing with 2 fingers. It's like dong, switching fingers all the time. It's like we're doing, you know, moving around. I was like, when I was doing the scales, it's a little bit awkward, you know. You're used to from the piano keyboard to just to switch like the hand with the thumb. Yeah, you can just really elegantly jump around the piano keyboard using your thumb, but you don't have a thumb, you know. The thumb doesn't work for me on the Mini, and I don't think it works for anybody who plays the Mini, you know. I mean, how are you going to do this with a thumb, you know? You have no actual feeling for it to work with a thumb on this fingerboard. So I figured out, since I'm coming from piano, there are 8 fingers left. So what can I do with 8 fingers? Well, I can place my 8 fingers on the fingerboard, and it gives me like, okay, that's the slide. 8 fingers. It gives me, well, I can play scales with it. Yeah, scales with 8 fingers. You have the most common scales are like heptatonic scales, and with 8 fingers you can like double the bass note. So you have the whole octave within a scale. So you can just place your fingers on the fingerboard with one, and Then I tried out the first scale, a major scale, of course, like everybody who starts music plays a major scale. So, and I played it, and I had, I was just demonstrating it, I had some trouble, like maybe with the third and maybe with the seventh. You know, like playing this, the major scale. So if I figure out if I play it really fast or it sounded like that, I think. So I was a little bit pretending to be the beginner. So the major scale did not work for me as a scale to really dive into this thing. So coming from a music theory class, I thought, well, let's try other scales. Let's try other modes, because in jazz we think in modes. You know, modes are the tonal organization of 7 notes, 7 tones within an octave, in different ways, different spreading of whole tones and half tones. I'm sure almost everybody knows about that, but I'm going to show it on the next slide. Before, you've probably seen this. So when you play the mini, there's a bump. You know, it's like, I don't know, maybe 2 centimeters, like from the bottom to the top of where the fingerboard lies. And if you place your hand with 8 fingers on this, I found it really stressful for your wrist. It's like, ah. So, and you have to bend your fingers like this to be on top of this fingerboard. So that puts a lot of stress to the fingers, like, and you can't play really accurately. So that's why I thought, well, let's get like a wrist pad for computer keyboards that relaxes the wrist. And well, it's basically maybe the same height approximately than a computer keyboard, so I bought this nice wooden wrist pad, and all of a sudden it felt a lot better, you know? So I was just like putting my fingers on top here. So that's the feeling of the wrist is better, plus you have the benefit of having a real solid position, and your fingers are, yeah, they're not moving around, like, and this is actually something that's very enjoyable to play with more than 2 fingers, and not having to move the position of the finger if you have this wrist pad. So that did a lot for me. So these are like the common scales. They are in order, like the brightest scale on top, the Lydian one, and the Locrian one on the bottom. That's how I teach. Oops, sorry, I just got rid of the microphone. You can only hear that in the video. So, better. And I thought, well, major scale did not work. Let's try the other ones, because maybe it did not work because my fingers are as they are. You know, my second fingers are like bananas, so maybe it's like they're really going far out. I don't know. That's genetically probably. My father had the same fingers, so the fingers, the second and the third finger, they're really close. You know, so maybe that's why it did not work for some placements. I don't know. Especially like if the third and the second is like, needs to be more apart. So I tried different scales to play on, and played them from the top to the bottom, and which one was the best for me? It was this one, the Dorian scale. Yeah, these are actually the German names for the modes, but I think you can guess what it is. The Dorian scale, which has the semitones between the second and third, and the 6th and the 7th note. So that was actually pretty pleasant, and I liked the finger position for this Dorian mode. So I said, okay, let's take that as a basis, and like the relaxed finger position is like this. It has quite a few advantages because it's a mode that's in jazz. It's played very, very, very often. A lot of music is in Dorian. If you think about like the kind of blue recording, So What, Miles Davis, that's Dorian, and a lot of cadences in jazz are Dorian based. And there's not much to change if you go to Mixolydian or to Aeolian. You just have to want to change one note. Yeah? And that can easily be done by just adjusting one finger, like bam, bam, bam. No? So that was the next thing I figured out when I was trying to explore this instrument, to explore the playability of the ContinuuMini. Because my goal actually was to use it as a melodic instrument in order to play like a wind instrument, like a string instrument, not copying it exactly, but play the way those instruments are played. And that required, next problem, playing in ranges that more than one octave, you know? Because if I don't move my fingers, well, it's hard to spread them over the octave, because then I have to slide. Okay, so I tried first, so to slide the thing, go like in parallel movement. But movement is not good for pitch. It does not really work to be more precise. So what did I do? I used a foot switch. Sure. Oops. Unfortunately, I did not bring my foot switch because I had a concert on Tuesday night. It was pretty late. And I was so tired and forgot to put it in the right bag. So it's still in Lübeck. My dedicated foot switch controller, which is a double foot switch, because a double foot switch gives you 3 octaves to play. And 3 octaves, it's pretty good. It's like the range of a trumpet, you know, which I'm used to playing. 3 octaves without moving your fingers. That's really nice. If I have a double foot switch, I can switch to a lower octave and a higher octave than the one I'm playing in. So Antonio was so nice to let me borrow his DIY device here, which is made up of a D-Link case. You did that all by yourself with two switches on top. This is pretty good. But it's, of course, it's I'm not used to switch like blindly on this one. Yes.
Are you familiar with the double foot switch that we're offering?
No.
Did you see that?
Oh,
see. It's closer to the form factor of the one that you built for yourself.
Yeah.
We use a dual Yamaha.
Okay, you use this one, yeah? I use actually a Boss foot switch, which has
goes forward and backwards.
Goes forwards and backwards, so I can just go like with a foot on the front or in the back, which is maybe for me easier to think. When I go like up, it's an octave up, and when I go down, it's an octave down instead of going left and right. That maybe confuses me more. I don't know. But so anyway, at the end of my presentation, I have a video. I edited a small video of the performance I gave with 2 other musicians on Tuesday night in Lübeck, so you can see how these foot switches, this foot switch is in action in a concert situation. So, but for now, I'm going to demonstrate how this works. Like here, you have this Oh, another thing that I found out playing ContinuuMini, with the sound coming out like out of speakers 10 meters away, it's really hard to adapt to the volume and the intonation if you're hearing it from such a distance. So I started using in-ear headphones, in-ear monitors to get a better perception of how the sound, it goes directly into your ear, and it's like, okay. Oh, does not work. Yeah. So I don't have to move my fingers around for 3 octaves, so I can just, they can be in place. Huh? And since I'm not, don't want to be limited to a Dorian scale, I of course have to find a way or to practice other playing situations where I switch over to other notes, you know, and I mostly do that by not having I can let go of one of these bass notes, like they are doubled, you know. So I have a C down there and a C an octave above, so I can just put my little pinky on the C sharp. Well, and then I'm able to play some other things, or play like harmonic minor, diminished chords. That's a lot easier if I. So that gives me more options to play if I use this double foot switch to change the octave. So I use further gear to complement my performance setup. This one is actually only a controller which does some delay effects, which I can control in a DAW. I'm using Loopy Pro, which has a looper inside, and you can just access effects outside of the continuum, and you can control everything, because yeah, these things I cannot do from the instrument here itself. And I'm using a FabFilter ×3 delay to have delay effects when I perform. So, okay. I would say I can play you something here, or maybe first of all I show you some performance which I did on Tuesday night. That's a jazz performance. We are playing a piece of mine. It has a Finnish name, so Benedict, you don't know this term, but it's the piece is called Hektikumalainen. So it's just a made-up fantasy name. So it's not a real Finnish name, but it sounds Finnish. And it was really funny because my colleagues are the guitar players from Finland. He's pretty famous. He's Kalle Kalima, and he was like, wow, it sounds Finnish, but I can't make it. What does it mean? So he thought, well, it's something related to bees, maybe. It sounds, so I don't know, but I have no idea. And Sebastian Merck is a really great drummer, also from Berlin. So I know these guys from the Berlin days. So yeah, I'm just gonna, and you see the double foot switch. It's inside a wooden enclosure, which is also nice to have a relaxed foot when you play, when you perform. And I'm just going to show you a small excerpt of this, so you can see that in action if you just watch what I'm doing. Let's try. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. So that's also like what Russ and Julia did. Like I'm combining electronic instruments with well, partly electronic instruments like a guitar, electric guitar, and drums. So that's also very nice to integrate all these newfound sounds in a performance like these. I'm doing lots of different projects. Like this one is a more, yeah, it's this groovy section, but we also did some very weird soundscape things during the performance. It's just, I couldn't edit a lot more. It's just a small thing, but you can see that more of it if I do that. If I upload it on a YouTube channel, I mean, we can maybe just, so I can give you the contact, or you just look it up yourself, and you can, if you're interested, see more. So yes, that's basically my yeah.
So my impression is that in order to get to where you really felt like you had a comfortable playing position, you needed to have the wrist pad, and you needed to be well seated. And have you found a way where you could play it maybe, I'm thinking in a more, I mean, like a table or a desk there, like if you find something where if you had a rig, where you had a comfortable.
Yeah, the desk is actually, I like to have like my elbows on table too. Maybe I got used to that, maybe because I'm sitting at the table and.
Helped you with your accuracy.
Yes, definitely. Because everything that keeps stress away from the fingers, it's good. It's like if you're holding, going, oops, sorry, like this, it's all tense. It's like, I find it hard to play the Mini that way because it's so sensitive and the whole thing moves like at the slightest eruption.
When I play, because most things have the Mini has an angle, so I don't have to twist my wrist. It's just straight. If you play like this, that's okay. Whatever you then go.
Yeah. So if you play the Mini like this, it's better. Yeah. And I found this thing actually really good to have like a ramp to the board. That suits me.
How long did it take you to get used to having your foot part of your pitch selection body?
Well, I'm still in the process of
Did you find it?
that.
I mean, for me, it feels like I've never involved my feet in my music making really.
Yeah, it's a little hard to get used to that you go up and then you have to go down again to go higher, and vice versa. That's something a little bit awkward in the brain, but you have to practice these things. You have to like practice intervals, lines, this to get used to that. That's and practice pieces. Yeah. Okay.
One thing that about the octave shifting pedals that the way we think about it, and one way that made it easier for me is to think about it just like the octave key on the back of the saxophone and try to relate to it that way. So that there are different times you're going to be doing it, depending upon where you are, and just getting
exactly.
used to it, think about it in that
Yes,
way.
yes,
It
yes.
makes it simpler than being some far, really similar to this
Right.
the line in the back.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the journey, It's not finished. So I'm still not. I don't consider myself there being a master of it, but it's evolving. It's good. So.
With Apple releasing Logic Pro on iPad here pretty soon, I've been thinking about connectivity with my iPad, and I'm curious, how are you connecting the MIDI Fighter Twister to your iOS?
Oh, it's just via a USB hub.
The USB hub,
Yeah, it's a powered USB hub. And that works. It works perfectly.
plug it right into the
Yeah.
iPad, and it recognizes it.
It recognizes it. Yeah. Yes.
I have another question. Since I haven't really played the Mini much, there was a technique that I used for the regular one, which is doing parallel chords, which is locking thumbs
Mm-hmm.
to keep everything like that. Do you ever use that?
Yes, I did that too. I mean, to like this, to have like the two fingers at the same distance, two hands at the same distance.
But you don't actually do them like that?
No, I don't do it like this.
Because I'm not sure what it feels like.
Yeah.
Keeps the thing together.
Yeah, exactly. You have to like really rely on that. And if it works, you can play blind. I think you can. Yeah, blind or deaf doesn't matter at all. You can just actually go like this. If you know where your reference point is.
Everything is easy if you know how.
Has anybody used there's cutouts in the back of the Mini that are supposed to be thumb, so if you're standing playing vertical, you use them as anchors, right, in the sticker on the bottom.
Mhm.
We call them bouquets because Eric McKay asked for them. I don't know if he ever used them. He doesn't? Well, okay, so that's another thing. If you're standing and if you're playing vertical, or horizontal, but if your thumb is easily behind it, there's also reference.
Wait, behind it? How?
We can pick yours up, right? So, well, I don't play, so I'm not going to play you anything. But there's the sticker on the back has these cutouts at various places, and so
So
you
you
use
could
them
just-
as a thumb reference. So that way,
Oh, if you're playing it that way.
Yeah.
yeah, if you're playing it on stage with
Yeah.
the strap.
With a strap. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So it's-
but That's
a total different approach then,
It's
yeah.
close to unlike the sax idea, right? That's closer to what the violin.
Yeah, yeah.
I figured it was a fun thing like that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has to find a different approach to playing this thing. I mean, probably a lot of people are maybe doing this like having a strap and having it like here, or setting it up vertically, or mixture of angles and whatever. So that's a nice thing. It's like an exploration. It's a challenge to find a way to access all the beauty of this instrument, which is. I'm glad I started it, so thank you very much that you built it.
Sven,
Yes.
one thing I like about this technique is it seems to me it makes it easier to reduce the amount of eye contact you need on the Mini.
Yes.
Because you're very
It
close
does.
there, so
It does.
you can engage. Otherwise,
Right.
you're relying on a lot of visual feedback.
Yeah, that's also a benefit of this, not of the fixed precision of the fingers.
You're familiar with the work of Oscar Sala and what he did with the trombone? He had a similar sort of
Yes, I was.
locked hand finger position.
I was also getting inspiration of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The tritoonium thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because it's got to be very difficult because he was the best ever.
Yes,
at
of course.
Tritoonium, and even the only demonstration videos I could tell where he was showing it, he had a lot of trouble doing it at that point. So
Sure.
I think it takes a lot of skill, and it's a similar thing on the sax, right? If you have to do the octave switch in an awkward place in a run, it's
Yeah.
very hard.
That's where the practice comes in. You know, you need to practice these breaking points, this switching points. You don't come along. You can just fake it, but it doesn't sound good.
You had a funny picture pretending it was like a
Yeah,
clarinet.
yeah.
Did you ever try playing it that way? That would feel sort of intuitive.
Not really. No, not really. Yeah, good. Thanks. Thank you.